Okay, so every single day you start your new workout, my recommendation will be to always start it with your foam roll. Your foam roll is the tool that you're going to be using to kind of warm the body up. A lot of misconception that people do is they go straight to what's called static stretching. You know, these motions here where we're stretching our muscles out. You don't really want to do that type of stretching until after the workout. Couple reasons: your body's now a lot warmer, your blood is flowing, your muscles are have a lot elastic to them. So you want to make sure you're saving that static stretching for the end of the workout. And we have that video also, and that one's going to be used immediately after we finish up the exercise portion. So you're going to always want to start your workouts with a foam roll. And there's many different ones out there that you're going to be looking at. For example, this one right here is a grid. It simulates different patterns that can work with like the knuckle, palm, the fingers. So you're going to notice these different grids on that. The most common one you're going to see is that cylinder, that flat cylinder, and there's many lengths to them. So make sure that you're choosing a foam roll that is going to suit you the best. You also have the Chinese trap machine. This one is brutal. But again, for a lot of people, this is the one that's going to help dig into those muscles. A lot of people don't really understand muscles tighten up over the years. Think about all the years of activities you've done and the lack of stretching that you'll be able to use during it. So this is going to open up your muscles and release a lot of tension. When you first use a foam roll, it's very painful. If you've never used it, just by applying your body weight onto it, you're going to immediately feel the tightness in the muscles. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through each specific muscle and we're going to roll them out. And I'm going to do it right here with you. So we're going to start at the calf and we're going to work our way towards up to our upper back. So to work your calf muscle, what you want to do is you want to place that foam roll in the center right behind your ankle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to prop my hands back, palms down, fingers back. And I'm going to bring my left leg right over the top, and it's going to allow me to prop my hips up. Propping my hips up is going to immediately put all that weight onto that muscle. So when you're going to foam roll, the best tempo to do it is a 1 second per inch, meaning as I start to maneuver and I'm breathing out of my mouth, I'm exhaling. And then I roll it back. And I like to work each muscle in 3 sections. So the best way to do that is to kind of shift and lean. Shifting and leaning is just going to allow me to start to open up the upper parts of the muscle. With an exhale as you roll. Again, you want to roll about 1 inch per second. Roll it back. And then you shift over and do the same thing. And I like to each muscle 3 separate ways. I'll shift right, I'll come straight up the middle, and then I shift to the left, doing the same thing. So that'll be the rolling out one calf. And then I'll do the same for the other side. And I like to do that. I like to go calf, calf, hamstring, hamstring, quad, quad, and such. Just so that way we can slowly get our entire body rolled up. Don't miss this part of the workout. This is going to be important. So I would dedicate about 5 to 7 minutes during the foam roll. So we're coming up to the hamstring. What I want to do is I want to avoid going underneath my knee. I don't want to roll out these 2 tendons right here on the back of the leg. Put your fingers behind your knee and just kind of bend your knee like this. You're going to feel those 2 tendons. You want to avoid rolling those. So you're going to put the pad just above that. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing. Now for the bigger muscles, it can kind of tend to put a little bit more pressure. So if you're barely starting off, I would suggest putting your other foot on the ground. This will help deviate a lot of that weight. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to roll nice and slow as you exhale, 1 inch per second, and come back down. Doing the same thing, going straight up and back down. And then you're going to turn inside and do the same exact thing. So again, as you start to loosen the muscles up, when you feel you're ready, you can bring that leg over and now apply that extra pressure to the muscles. And for the bigger muscles, because the limb is a lot longer than my calf, I usually do it in 2 sections. From just above the knee to mid-thigh, from mid-thigh to just below the glute. So after I roll out that half bottom part of my hamstring, then I'll shift up top and I'll do the same, rolling it up just below my glute. Nice and slow. Make sure you're breathing the whole time in the nose, out the mouth as you roll. Okay, so now we've targeted our calves and our hamstrings. Now we want to roll out the glute muscle. So what I want to do is I don't want to sit directly on it. That's going to put a lot of pressure right on my hip bone, and I don't want to roll the bone now. I want to roll only the muscles. So when I'm rolling my glute, I'm going to kind of lean over. I'm going to lean over to my right so I can apply it right in the pocket of that muscle. And it won't take much. It won't take much to find it. You're gonna feel it right away. It's gonna be that tight muscle, and that's the part you roll. You know, as terrible as it sounds, the more it hurts, the more you need to roll those muscles out, because that's the muscle that is really tight and has built up over years. So you want to release that tension. So you're gonna take your time. Again, you can take off a lot of that weight by posting the other foot and rolling. I have two posts right here. I have this far hand, my right hand and my left foot. And it's just gonna allow me to slowly roll. And you can kind of fish around on the glute. You just wanna avoid the hip bone. You wanna stay right on the muscle. So I'm just gonna kind of roll it out. And it should feel good after a while. Again, a tight glute can shoot pain down the back of your hamstring. So a lot of the times when we have a lower back pain or maybe a sciatic feeling, the glute tightened up so much that it's pulling. It's pulling the muscles and just compressing them, and it gives you that tight sensation all the way down the leg and up the back. So it's important to roll the glute out. It's an extremely valuable muscle to the body, so it's important to take care of it. You're rolling it out. Now, as we shift up top to the back, you want to stay off the bone, especially the spine. So I don't want to lay flat, especially my lower back. As we drift up higher where the lat muscles start to form, then we have some cushion. But for the lower part of the back, I don't want to lay flat on it. I'm going to lean off to the right, just like on the glute. And I have the same pinpoints right now. I'm on my forearm. This is going to allow me to bring my center bounce a little bit lower. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to roll. Nice and slow. Taking your time. Make sure the spine is not pressing into the foam roll. And I'm going to do this on each side a few times, up and down. As we get higher up onto the back, now we're going to be able to square off, making sure that it doesn't go any lower than the middle of our back, about right here. So to work the upper muscles in the back and the shoulder, rear delts, all I'm really going to do is I'm going to kind of slowly roll it down. And I'm going to show you a few hand positions that is going to help open up the muscles in a different position. So we're going to start first with the hands behind the head, elbows open. Hips up. And I'm going to roll to about the top of the shoulder, just below the neck. And then mid-back. I can do that 2 or 3 times. Then I'm going to close my elbows. This is going to open up my rear delts. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to roll 2 or 3 times. Then I'm going to extend my arms straight over my head. And I'm going to finish up the roll. Remember, you want to move about 1 inch per second, so that way you're rolling them nice and slow, almost like you're rolling dough out. I mean, these are muscles that we're rolling out, so you want to go nice and slow and breathing the whole time. So it should take you about 5 to 7 minutes to foam roll, working both the calves, both hamstrings, working your way up the back, and then the last 2 muscles we'll do are our quads, the big bread and butter parts of the leg. So because we're going to be turned upside down on it, now all our body weight is going to be pressed directly into it. So I would definitely advise you to take your time putting this pad above the knee. Again, you never want that thing to be on the knee, just above it. So I'm going to post out just like this. This leg is going to allow me to kind of control as I'm maneuvering off the foam roll, and I've got my hands here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to target it in 3 separate parts of the leg in 2 sections. So I'm going to lean in, roll it out once or twice. I'm going to square off once or twice. And then I'm going to shift off to the other direction and do it once or twice. Then I'm going to bring the pad to the middle of my thigh, and I'm going to follow that same pattern. But again, make sure you avoid going too far up in the hip. You only want to stay on the muscle. So I'm doing the same pattern, and I'm coming just below the hip and back up. And I'm gonna motion again, square it off, back up, and turn it in, roll it out, back up. As you progress with this one, then you'll be able to, again, bring the leg over and really dig in. But just keep in mind, that one brings a lot of pressure, so it's important that you take your time with the foam roll. If you've never done it, I would definitely start with the postum, the foot on the ground for all these exercises. That way you can slowly start to loosen it up. I was introduced to the foam roll probably about 6 years ago. Prior to that, I had never done it. I had stretched, and I've been very active my whole life. I started wrestling when I was very young. And you know, it's an extremely demanding sport. I did breakdancing, bodybuilding, martial arts. So all my life I've been very active and putting my body in weird and crazy wilding positions. I'm sure a lot of you have done certain things where you kind of look back like, man, my body was very limber. I don't know what I did or how I did it. And then when you get older, or maybe you're not older yet, you want to start now. The foam roll is just a great way to keep the body young. Muscles tighten up, that's just how it works. So it's important that you take care of it. And the foam roll is going to be the most important part to starting your workout. Before you do anything physical or active, I would recommend using the foam roll. The more and more you do it, the more it just becomes part of your routine. I could never start a morning without it these days. I've been doing it every day, and I've relieved and removed years and years of pain simply by just adding this addition to the beginning of my workout. So take your time with the foam roll. Make sure that you kind of rewind to this video, go back and forth, go to the Facebook group, ask me questions if you have any little details, because there's a lot of different muscles that you can warm up. But these are going to be the basics to kind of get your body loose and ready for the warm-up. So after you've done your foam roll, you've gotten loosened up, now we're going to go to the warm-up, and we're going to get the heart rate moving and get the body sweating. All right.